Welcome to Mandulo Sacred Conversations, where we are here to help you recalibrate your nervous system and rewire your brain. Today, we are in sacred conversation around addiction. And I do understand that this can be a sensitive topic. I am here to bring awareness and to bring assistance to understanding or helping you understand why is it at the root of it we are all addicted. So first and foremost, we are all addicted to love, okay, which offers connection. And connection that comes through, it gives you a sense of belonging in the world. So we are all addicted to love, which offers connection that comes through a sense of belonging. And when you have a sense of belonging, you have a sense of acceptance, not only from others, but within yourself. And it offers you more self-worth. So it increases your level of self-worth. In turn, you end up feeling more valuable when you belong, right? Feeling like you are connected or you have connection and you are present with people and you are in acceptance, you feel seen, you feel heard, and you feel acknowledged with who you are in your entirety. It brings a sensation of euphoria. It feels really good. It's attractive. And that's what we want, is connection. So your addiction then ends up being, it can be not only drugs, sex, your phone, your food, your escaping. And whether you're escaping by not dealing with your emotions, you could always be in the energy of acquisition, like acquiring clothes, online purchasing, addicted to that. And this happens because you didn't feel safe as a child. And if you didn't feel safe as a child, that means that your nervous system would be under high stress levels. Okay? For you, what you have understood safety to be was chaos. And even if you do not want that chaos in your life, you want peace, you keep attracting it because you are moving from the point of not wanting the dis-ease and the high stress. And there's a talk that I have about like the energy speaks, the universe speaks in energy. It doesn't hear the negative. It just hears vibration and the energy, the intensity of the vibration. And it could go from the highest level to the lowest level. Okay. Your high stress offers you or offered you then hyper awareness. It made you become more hyper aware. Your hyper awareness then invoked the mistrust of people, right? Because you were younger, certain things might have happened to you that were inflicted against your own boundaries that you could have physically done or put up for yourself, whether it was verbally or physically. You just became hyper aware. And your hyper awareness was because of the chaos that was known as safety, as your conditioning and through your family, right? And this was not from a safe vantage point because your nervous system is in survival mode. So when you are in survival mode, generally we would say that you don't think clearly or as clearly as you can if your head was connected to your heart, if you felt more grounded, if you felt safe, if you felt like you could breathe in deeply, if you could be able to pay attention and focus on what is happening in this moment. Okay, being hyper aware, you're already trying to figure out what is next sometimes. And once again, this is not a bad thing at all. None of this is a bad thing. It's how we use it. And we're just trying to rewire ourselves from any low vibrational point that our addiction and our our association to our addictions, what they have caused us, right? To not be able to feel ourselves in our fullest form. We are trying to bring that back, and we're trying to recalibrate the nervous system so that we can understand by rewiring the brain, like, oh, okay, I didn't feel safe. Oh, let me go back to this rather. What I'm addicted to is I want connection. But because I didn't feel safe, I attracted chaos, which was a typical thing that I would have attracted because I was known to chaos in my system growing up, and I didn't have the ability to defend myself, whether it was verbally or physically as a child. So the nervous system, you started becoming hyper aware, right? And if you didn't know how to not be safe, hyper awareness is a huge stress on your nervous system. Because if you are hyper aware, and that means you could also possibly have high stress levels. And if you didn't know how to bring yourself into safety, all you were doing was accumulating. And now your body as a physical system too can only do so much on its own if you only in one department, being the mind, and running away from the emotions. So if you are fully in the mind, you're not connected to the emotions. The emotions are connected to your physical body. That means that you would have ignored your body. And by bypassing your body, then things happen to your body where dis-ease occurs, right? And if you weren't equipped with the knowledge of how to be safe and how to ground yourself and how to cleanse your body when there was an over accumulation of distress, then we go into the addictions, because in your mind, the scene and setting was very important, or it had a big impact in your life, because that was the association of love that you had. The people that you surrounded with in that moment felt safer than where you had come from or where you were raised. Okay. So your addiction made you feel good. And when you feel good, you allowed it, so what you became addicted to made you feel good. And when I mean good, it allowed you to be transported to a place where you no longer specifically had to feel extreme amounts of pain on your own. What you were addicted to, the tool, became your safety net. It became your friend, right? So when you speak to a counselor in an addiction unit, they will tell you that most addicts try to get their first high. That is what they are after. And when we talk about the first high, is almost like that sense of weightlessness. That's what is also described. You feel weightless, you feel transported to another place other than the pain. So you feel more, once again, that sense of euphoria. You feel like everybody should just be like one. You understand the oneness of who we are in the bigger scheme of things, but the ego, which is also attached to the nervous system, needs support. Okay. So when you feel that love, or when you felt that love in your first high, you felt that there was no care or problems in the world that you had, right? And the thing is, you have attached the feeling to the only time you could have felt that way. So in your mind, you remember that euphoric feeling of your first high. You remember that feeling of being weightless, not feeling the pain of the world that you feel or felt at the time. So what then happened is you started chasing and associating feeling good with the drugs, the food, the alcohol, the sex, the people, etc. Whatever it is you were addicted to. Because once again, it made you feel less pain. So it helped you, one would say it would help you transcend in a certain level, and it made you feel numb. So you didn't necessarily have to feel the pain, but you could love yourself through the pain, right? So there's different associations of what happens in that state of mind. And what ends up happening is that when you're addicted to something, you end up relying on that thing to make you happy. So you associate that feeling of euphoria with that thing. So that's how I said it could be anything. It could be, escaping. Traveling all the time could be a form if you have the resources to be able to do that all the time. If you're traveling all the time, that's also a form of escape, right? But your addiction, because what we are addicted to is connection. There are healthy ways of doing it. It's just if you don't know a healthy way of using that resource as a tool to access it, and if you only rely on it, you create an unhealthy dependency on this tool. So then it becomes your crutch, right? Now this thing that could be enjoyable for other people can no longer be enjoyable because it's causing pain, and it's causing in some people to lose their lives, unfortunately, and to lose like loved ones, right? What happens in that addiction or in that addicted state, in that high euphoric state, what you are trying to do the next time is recreate that moment in the hope that you will understand how to feel good for most of the time without failing. So it's almost like you're trying to re-engineer that moment. And the issue is that seeing the mood, the setting with key elements to how you got into that perfect concoction, like I said, the scene, the mode, setting, scene, scent, smell, how you were feeling, how you were dressed, who was there, whatever it was the key concoction, and somehow you disassociated from that and used that tool, that thing, to associate it as the feeling of connection, right? And it's absolutely normal to want to feel good. It's definitely uncomfortable to feel pain. And we come from a culture that allows you to just escape for a little moment. It's okay, just for now, just for now. And you keep adding these incremental just for now moments of forget it for now, do it later. And that can add up to a whole year. It can add up to many years. It can add up to your whole life if you keep ignoring and bypassing. How can I actually get deeper connection in the most simplest way, in the most healthy, and in a way that I won't have to depend on it fully for the rest of my life, right? So hopefully you want to get to that point where you understand, how do I get connection in the most purest form, even if you're using that thing, but in a way that doesn't cause a misuse of it, that then drains you into a point where you can no longer feel the bliss of this existence or of your existence. So sometimes, unfortunately, when this happens, when you're trying to re-engineer that moment, your dose increases or you become unhappier. So you go into those extreme cases of overdose sometimes, unfortunately. Right? And once again, this is from the feeling of not feeling seen, heard, or acknowledged. Or another way to say it is to be shown your worth. So to be shown your worth, you have to rewire the brain to understand that when you came here on earth, you were already worthy. The fact that out of all the swimmers from your dad, you came through into your mom's womb as the one who was going to be born. You are already a winner. But there's so many different institutions that will benefit from making you believe that that is not the case. Okay? So if you're looking for help or one-on-one coaching to help you understand connection and how to get connection. And even if it means you reducing your dependency on these things and going to the most natural forms in medicine that have been gifted to us by breath, by movement, by sound, by touch, by talking, by learning what safety is, so that you can help your nervous system ground into that state and presence, so that no matter where you go, there you are, and all you need are the most basic tools, right? And what you are addicted to doesn't have to feel heavy the way in which you get towards that connection. So if you're needing help with how do I, on a nervous system level, understand what connection and safety is and understand how that is related to my health, how do I understand what my body is communicating to me when I'm feeling depressed or in a suppressed state of mind where I don't feel like I have joy in my life, I don't feel value, or I don't feel valuable, simply because you weren't shown your value. So if you want to understand your value a lot more and you want to just feel alive once again, because we all deserve that. We all deserve to feel our best selves. We all deserve to feel connection. And I'm going to teach you how to do it in a healthy way, or at least a healthier way, so that even if you're weaning yourself off this thing, that you allow yourself the grace and the time to be able to understand at the root of why I'm doing this is because I want connection. So then you understand, how do I support myself with getting and receiving connection in other ways that are most healthier for my nervous system and for my brain and my heart. So I wish for you that you will find the people who are safe enough for you to be able to rewire your brain and recalibrate your nervous system so that you can go into thriving mode and you can lead a more heart-led life. If you're looking for a more heart-led life, join me in a session. The email is below, and you can book for us getting into your body and just dissecting what is it at the root to just help your brain understand where it's all coming into connection and what that is, that deeper intimacy with yourself and your breath, your spirit, your soul. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and I will be sharing more. If there are any questions, I am going to go into, for a little while, a question a day and then answer that. So I'm sending you so much love and energy to just hold you in connection and just to almost like an extended hug to just say, I get it. I get it. Whatever you are addicted to, I get it. We all have our addictions. I've had my own addictions where I've had to move through them. But because I've moved through them, I know how to. And at the root, what it was because I was seeking connection. And now that I know how to get connection, I can just, boom, get connection. So I want to help you with that if you're ready. Until next time, I will see you soon. Or not see you soon. This is not a this is not a yoga class. I also teach embodiment practice. So I'm thinking I'm seeing people in front of a class right now. Maybe one day that will happen. Maybe one day we'll be able to gather together and just share and story and healing, and that we can all understand the ceremonial rebirthing that takes place in healing and in circle and in community and in talking through these things that sometimes we don't want to speak about, and sometimes we don't want to speak about them because we have shame about them, and sometimes we have shame about them because we lack knowledge around them of how to support ourselves better with these issues. You know, we walk around this world as if nobody has issues, yet undercover we're all going through the same thing. And you know, it's just bringing back that sense of community to just say, I understand you. I might not need to take up all of your baggage, but I can definitely help you along the way, unpack a little bit, just empty those bricks that you have packed in, you know. So, yes, here is to growth. Here is to deepest alignment. Here is to speaking our truth. And here is to being inspired and living in spirit so that, you can bring back the joy and the gratitude of our existence, because this is a beautiful existence to have if you choose to see it in that way. So I want to help you see it in a way that why you have come to do what you have come to do. You have a purpose, and I hope that people get to listen to your voice one day, because your voice definitely needs to be heard. From your story, you're sitting on gold. And if you want that assistance and that help to be able to go, whew, I also want to share my story, and this is what happened to me, this is how I got healed, I'm available.